1970s, when the idea of an out-and-out driving machine, as opposed to a Grand Tourer, came of age, as engineers and designers began to explore the possibilities of really fast cars. The most extreme was undoubtedly the Lamborghini Countach, but that doesn't necessarily make it the best. So here are our thoughts on the rest. Maserati, like many supercar manufacturers, has had a turbulent history, but that hasn't stopped it from creating some of the most beautiful cars ever. The Bora appeared while the Italian company was under Citroen's ownership, but before the DeTomaso takeover. Neither of which, you will note, is a steady cash-rich parent. The Bora was perhaps the most civilized supercar of the era, thanks to its Gallic influences. Citroen's hydraulics expertise were used to operate the ventilated disc brakes, the adjustable pedal box, driver's seat, and de rigueur pop-up headlights. Further refinement was found in large front luggage compartment and a double pane of glass separating the cabin from the 4.7-litre mid-mounted V8. The engine was all Italian, however, and derived from one of the legendary Maserati 450S endurance racers. All alloy, quad cam, and fed by 4 carburetors, in later 4.9-litre form, this produced 320 horsepower and drove the rear wheels through a ZF 5-speed transaxle, all wrapped in a sensational Giorgetto Giugiaro designed body. Another merging of two worlds, but this time of a more tried and tested formula. American V8 power mated to European design and engineering. Presented at the New York Motor Show in 1970, the DeTomaso Pantera must qualify as the longest-lived and highest-volume supercar, soldiering on for 21 years with over 7,000 produced. Founded by Argentinian Alejandro DeTomaso in Modena, Italy, to produce prototypes and racing cars, including an F1 car for Frank Williams, the Pantera was the company's third production model. Based around a 335 horsepower Ford Cleveland V8, with a body designed by Tom Jarder at Ghia, the Pantera was aimed at the American market. Ford agreed to sell in Lincoln and Mercury dealerships, and it included more creature comforts than its typical Italian supercar peers. The oil crisis forced Ford to pull out of the distribution deal in 1975, but the car soldiered on, even going as far as using Australian-sourced Cleveland V8s after American production ceased. Hearing that Lancia was planning a purpose-built rally car and wanting to drum up business for his carrozzeria, Nuccio Bertone pinched the running gear out of a friend's Fulvia to build a concept. The story has it that the resulting Lancia Zero was so low that when Bertone arrived to present the car, he simply drove it under the barrier at Lancia's headquarters. The showmanship worked, and Bertone was appointed to create a rally car penned by a designer Marcello Gandini of Lamborghini Miura fame. The prototype, presented at the 1971 Turin Motor Show, had a mid-mounted Dino Ferrari V6, which Enzo Ferrari allowed since his own mid-engine sports car had ceased production. The final 500 engines went to Lancia, allowing it to homologate the Stratos for the World Rally Championship. The first purpose-designed rally car had duly secured the World Championship title in 1974, 1975 and 1976. Ferrari was caught on the hop by the Lamborghini Miura, which became the world's fastest production car upon its launch. More importantly, it made the front-engine Ferrari Daytona look like yesterday's engineering. The car's replacement, the Pininfarina-designed 365 GT4BB, redressed the balance and became the first mid-engine car to officially wear the Ferrari name. Commonly known as the Boxer, its longitudinally mounted 180-degree 4.4-litre V12 was not a true Boxer engine, and the car's BB designation actually stands for Berlinetta Bialbero because of its dual camshafts. Updated in 1976, the car became the 512BB, referencing its 5-litre V12 engine, a break from Ferrari's previous system of naming cars according to the single-cylinder volume. Porsche had originally experimented with turbocharging for its racing cars back in the 1960s. In the early 1970s, technical director and later chairman Dr. Ernst Fuhrmann decided to adapt the system used in the 91730 Can-Am car for road use. Applied to the 3-litre flat-six from the 911 Carrera RS, the single turbocharger technology produced 260 horsepower at a low 6.5:1 compression ratio. Indeed, as a homologation special, the resulting car, known internally as the 930, became popular with the public, badged simply as the Turbo. Flared wheel arches covered the much wider rubber it required, and a whale tail spoiler helped to both vent air and keep it planted. The Turbo used a 4-speed manual gearbox, as the existing 911 Carrera's 5-speed unit was unable to handle the engine's torque output. The engine was enlarged to 3.3 litres in 1978, and an intercooler added, boosting power to 300 horsepower. The whale tail spoiler now became a flatter T-tray. Despite a reputation for widowmaker handling, the 930 continued in production until 1989, when it finally got an extra gear ratio for its final year. The 1970s seemed to be the decade for convoluted supercar construction partnerships. The BMW M1's complicated build process was the result of a failed agreement with Lamborghini to build a mid-engined car for BMW to homologate to take on Porsche in Group 5 racing. The BMW M1 was, as its name suggests, the first car designed in its entirety by BMW's motorsport division. Lacking the capacity to build it, they contracted Lamborghini for final development and production. The Italian firm's shaky finances, however, prompted BMW to resume control. As a result, the body and chassis were constructed by separate Modenese firms and sent to Ital Design in Turin, which mated the two elements and added the interior. The semi-completed shells were then sent to Bauer in Stuttgart, where they were mated to a 277 horsepower, 3.5 litre development of the M49 engine from the wildly successful CSL racing program. Finally, the cars were delivered to BMW in Munich for final prepping and delivery. By this time, the Group 5 rules had changed, so instead BMW decided to create a one-make pro car championship using the M1. Niki Lauda won the 1979 season and Nelson Piquet the 1980 championship. Plus, 399 lucky people were able to take ownership of BMW's first, arguably only supercar, the BMW M1.